Good afternoon, my dear students. Today we're going to have another virtual class for Math 101. This is College Algebra. And today we're going to discuss your Week 6 module, which is all about functions. Today is October 29, 2021. Our schedule is 2:45 to 4:15 p.m. So what is functions? The third chapter of our course is all about linear functions. Since this is the first module of the chapter, it is here that we're going to discuss function concept in general. We'll learn about the notation used when referring to functions and the concept of the zero of a function. We'll also look at some operations that we can do functions. So this is now our definition. We'll be using the term function in most of the modules of this course. That is why it is important that we define it. So what is now the definition? A function is a correspondence between two sets such that for every element of the first set, there correspond exactly one element of the second set. To better understand this definition, let us look at the mapping diagram shown below. The mapping diagram shows that correspondence or pairing between the elements of two sets. So we have 1 is to 5, 2 is to 7, 3 is to 9, 4 is to 11, 5 is to 13. So the set on the left, the set containing the elements 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this now the sets has the elements, 5 elements, no? The first 5 numbers, no? Is what we refer to as the first set or the domain. Okay? The other set is what we call the second set or range po. So ano yung pagkakaiba po nila? Okay? So mostly what we have here is here's the x and y. When you say x, at the same time, we call this as your domain. Ito yan. Ito yung x natin, ito yung y natin. Yung x is also the same as input or domain. Or x is the values na nandito sa mga elements na yan. Okay? Yung mga values dito or the domain, that is now the values of x. Okay? Tapos yung ano dito, yung 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, other term is range. Or that is your y, the set of y values, yung range po natin. Or that is our input. So don't be confused, no? Pag x po siya, ang tawag po natin doon, other term, is domain or input. Yung y po naman, that's what they call your range or that's what they call the output. So yung input natin, mamap po natin doon sa output po natin. Okay? Kaya tinawag nilang mapping po siya. So notice that every element of the first set is paired with exactly one element of the second set. This diagram represents a function. On the other hand, the diagram below shows a correspondence that can be considered as function. 1 and 1, 1 to negative 1, 4 is to 2, then 4 is to negative 2. Because if we're going to look on the output, if this is the input, it has different output, no? Okay lang sana kung pare-pareho lang sila, can be considered as a function. So you can have one input or three or two input with the same output, but you cannot have one input with different input. So yun po siya, no? So the diagram below shows a correspondent that cannot be considered a function. For this mapping, notice that the element 4 on the first set is paired with more than one element of the other set, that is 2 and negative 2. That is why we don't consider this is a function. This is what we call a mere relation. So iba naman yung relation sa function. Okay? The use of a mapping diagram is just one way of representing functions. In algebra, we normally use equations for the functions notation to represent a function. Okay? To demonstrate this, we need to know that the variable used for the first set is x. So tuwing sasabi ko, no, x yung nauna, your output is your y, no? While the variable used for the second set is what we call the y. Going back to the first mapping diagram, the correspondence between the first set to the second set can be represented by the equation y is equal to 2x plus 3. Okay, check po natin. Y is equal to 2x plus 3. If x is equal to 1, 2 times 1 is 2 plus 3 is 5. The same with this one. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 3 is equal to 7. Kaya sabi niya, based on our first mapping, the first set to the second set can be represented by the equation y is equal to 2x plus 3. Okay? Whatever the value of x can be simplified by using this equation of y. Okay? So we have y, 5, 2, 7, 3, 9, 4, 11, 5, and 13. Okay? So 2x plus 3, 2 times 5 is 10, plus 3 is 13. To check whether the equation y is equal to x plus 3, it is a proper representation of the correspondence shown by the mapping diagram above. We try some values, let us replace x with 1. So y is equal to 2x plus 3. If x is equal to 1, then y is equal to 2 multiplied by 1 plus 3 is equal to 5. So this checks out with the mapping diagram where 1 is paired with 5. If we try the other element, the first set, then we will say that they will all satisfy the equation y is equal to 2x plus 3. Kaya tinawag nilang functions. Dahil meron silang exact equation. Dito, we cannot justify. Paano naging 1, paano negative 1 po siya. Okay? So, tinawag nilang cannot be considered a function. Okay? So, notice that the values of y depends on the value of x. Kaya, sabi dito, notice the value of y depends on the value of x. Kasi, nagre-rely lang po siya dito. This is our independent variable. This is our dependent variable. Kung ano yung value ng x, magbabago lang yung value ng y. So, that is why we call the x independent variable and y the dependent variable. To further highlight this difference between the rules of x and y, we use a notation called the function notation. The equation y is equal to 2x plus 3 can also be represented by the function of x is equal to 2x plus 3. Okay? The symbol f of x is read as f of x. Okay? So that's the way we're going to read this, ano? F of x or the function of x or f of x to indicate the idea that the value of the function is 5 when x is 1, we write f of 1. Okay, ito na yung value natin. If the value of x is equal to 1, 2 times 1 is 2 plus 3 is 5. So since our mapping diagram 2 is paired with 7, we denote this in the function notation as the function of 2 or f of 2 is equal to 7. Okay, so this is our formula, the function notation, and read as f of x. Okay, so pag in-substitute natin po yun, yung f of x, the value is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you can have the value dito. If f of 5 is equals to 5, the answer is 13. So this is our input, this is our output, this is our independent variable, this is our dependent variable. Let us say we have another function represented by g of x, which is x squared minus 1. Let us look at the values of the following. So g of 0 is equal to 0 squared minus y. We replace x in g of x by 0. So we'll also replace x with 0 in x squared minus 1. So if we're gagawin lang po natin is iso-substitute lang po natin. Okay? G of 0 is equal to negative 1. After simplifying by using this equation, x squared minus 1. G sub 2, 2 squared is 4 minus 1 is 3. 3 squared is 9 minus 1 is 8. So we will encounter this notation more when we discuss specific types of functions, either linear functions or quadratic functions, etc. Next, we have f of x equal to 5x plus 8. G sub x equal to 3x minus 4. h of x equal to x squared plus 7. So first we have the additions of two functions. F plus g of x. The notation f plus g x means we are adding the functions of f and g. This is as simple as adding 5x plus 8 and 3x minus 4. Ito na siya. F plus g plus x. So this is our f, 5x plus 8. This is our g, 3x minus 4. So 5x plus 3x is 8x. 8 minus 4, the answer is 4. So that is for addition. Next, we have subtraction. X minus f, x. So ito yung x natin, and then ito yung f natin. This means you're subtracting f from x. Okay? So x squared plus 7 minus 5x plus 8. So since walang kasama ito, i-retain po natin siya. So we have x squared plus 7 minus 5x minus 8. So collecting like terms, 7 minus 8 is negative 1. So our answer is x squared minus 5x minus 1. So that's the way we're going to add and subtract functions, two functions. Next, we have f times g of x, multiplications of functions. Your f is 5x plus 8, and then your g is 3x minus 4. Using the FOIL method, inner, first 5 by 3, 15, 5 by 4, negative 20, 8 by 3, 24, 8 by 4, negative 32. Collecting like term, ito magiging 4 na lang siya, no? So we have 15x squared plus 4x minus 32. So that's your addition, subtraction, multiplication. Next, we have division. X all over f of x. So x squared plus 7 divided by 5x plus 8. So that's our answer. So next we have your d, what we call another functions. We call this one composition of functions f of g of x. This last operation is different from the usual operations that we do. What does fg mean? It means we are evaluating the function f, but instead of replacing x with a number, we replace x with another function, in this case, g of x. So f of x equal to 5x plus 8. F, which is unknown, we have 5 and then plus 8. So therefore, f of g of x will be 5gx plus 8. So i-multiply natin ito kung ano yung value nito, no? 5 multiplied by 3x minus 4 plus 8. Okay? So 5 by 3x or 15x, 5 by 4, negative 20, then 8. Collecting like terms, we have 15x minus 12. Okay? So let us try another example. Determine g f x. Another way of indicating composition function is by using the symbol ito, no? May circle sa gitna. Iba yung tuldok. Kasi pag tuldok siya, multiplication. So, pag meron kayo nakitang ganito, that is compositions of functions. G of f x is the same as g of f of x. Okay? G, this is what we call the outer function. This is the inner function, x equal to g f x. So, our g is equal to 3, no? Ito yun, no? Okay, 3x minus 4. So, we have 3, the function of x minus 4, 3 by 5x plus 8 minus 4. So we have 3 by 5, 15x, 3 by 8 is 24 minus 4, the answer is 20. So that's our answer. Okay, we have also another formula or discussion for compositions of functions. We call this one the functions of functions. Basic functions are often combined with each other to describe more complicated situations. Here, we'll consider the composition of functions, the functions of functions. So definition, the composite of the functions f and g written as f of g is f of g of x is equal to f g x. Okay? Sabi dito, a composite function is generally a function that is written inside another function. Composition of function is done by substituting one function into another function. For example, f gx is the composition or composite function of f of x and g sub x. The composite function f gx is read as f of g of x. So, you know. So, paano natin magbasa ito? F of g of x, the function gx is called an inner function, and the function fx is called an outer function. Hence, we can also read f gx as the function g is the inner function of the outer function f. So how to solve composite functions? Solving a composite function means finding the composition of two functions. We use a small circle. So you know. For the composition of function, here are the steps on how to solve a composite function. First, rewrite the composition in different form. For example, f g x is equal to f of g of x. Okay? So for example, for the function of x equal to x, the square root of x minus 2, g sub x equal to x squared, and h sub x equal to 3x if x is less than 2, x minus 1 if x is greater than or equal to 2. So paano yung gagawin po natin? Okay? Evaluate f of g of 3, g of f of 6, f of h of 2, h of g negative 3 po siya. Okay, so we have our solution. F of g of 3. So f, g, 3. So ano yung value ng g natin? G is x squared. So since our constant value is 3, so substitute po natin siya dito. 3 squared is equivalent to 9. So therefore, f of 9, then this is our equation ng f. So we have the square root of 9 minus 2. The answer is square root of 7, which is equivalent to 2.646. Next, we have g of f of 6. So f ngayon, no, nasa loob siya, baliktad, no? So g, the f of 6 is equal to g, yung f, this is our formula, square root of 6 minus 2, the answer is 4. Okay? Tapos, susunod natin yung g is x squared. So square root ng 4 is 2. So siya, no? Pag simplify natin to, we have 2. Tapos, substitute natin siya doon sa formula natin, x squared, 2x squared, the answer is 4. Okay? And next, f of h, 2. Okay? So, our h now, the value is 2. If x is less than 2, gagamitin natin ito. If x is greater or equal to 2, we have x minus 1. So, since equal to 2, we're going to use this equation, x minus 1. Yung h na function natin. So, we have 2 minus 1 is 1, the function of 1. So, substitute natin, square root of x minus 2. The square root of 1 minus 2 is the square root of negative 1, which is undefined. So, that is imaginary. Okay? For the last one, h of g, which is negative 3. Okay? So, yung g natin is x squared. So, g negative 3 and then squared, the answer is 9. Tapos yung h natin, which is greater than 2, dahil 9 na po siya, so we have 9 minus 1, the answer is 8. So, that is our example for the composite functions. So, take note of the difference, may small circle sa gitna. Pag that po yan represents multiplication. Pero pag may kayong nakitang ganyan, small circle sa gitna, that is composite of functions. Ito po siya. Which means f of g of x. Okay? So now that we are familiar with the function notation and the operation that we can do with functions, we are ready to discuss another concept related to functions. The next one is the zero of a function. Okay, so this is now the definition. The zero of a function is the value of x, the independent variable. That will make the value of the function y, the dependent variable, 0. Okay, quit natin sa 0. Take note that the zero of a function is not denoted by f of 0. The notation f of 0 means the value of the function when x is equal to 0. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, baka mamaya hindi siya ibig sabihin na times 0, no? Kung ano yung value dito represents the value of x. Pag ganito, which means the value of x is equal to 0. For the 0 of a function, it is the variability or the variable y that we want to become 0. Therefore, to get the 0 of a function, we just have to equate y to 0 or the f of x is equal to 0. Okay, so paano yung 0 functions ngayon? Example, determine the 0 of the f of x is equal to 3x plus 6. Analysis and solution. To determine the 0 of f of x, equate f of x to 0. F of x equal to 3x plus 6. Pag in-equate natin ito ng 0, what's left will be 3x plus 6. So ito itatranspose natin to kaya naging negative 6 is equal to 3x. So therefore, x is equal to negative 2. Okay? Therefore, the 0 of the function f of x is equal to 3x plus 6 is negative 2. Sometimes, a function can have several zeros po siya. So that's the way we are going to deal with 0 of a function. Equate natin yung y into 0. Okay? Equate y to 0 or the function of x is equal to 0. So we have your last example. I think this is the last example, no? Determine the zeros of f of x is equal to x squared minus 5x plus 6 po siya. So we have your the analysis and solution. Okay? So we left f of x is equal to 0. Okay? So f of x equal to x squared minus 5x plus 6. Okay? So equate natin ito into 0. 0 will be x squared minus 5x plus 6. Remember, our lesson on quadratic equation. So there are three solutions in finding the solutions of quadratic equation. First, by completing the square. Second, by factoring. Last, by using the quadratic formula. So dito, if we're going to make use of factoring, if we're going to factor x squared minus 5x plus 6, the factors are x minus 2, x minus 3. Okay, if we're going to multiply these two, we're going to have x squared minus 5x plus 6 po siya. Okay, so with that, we're going to equate this one into 0. X minus 2 is equal to 0. X minus 3 is equal to 0. Okay, so therefore, if we're going to simplify it further, x will be equal to 2, x will be equal to 3. So therefore, the function of x equal to x squared minus 5x plus 6 has 2 zeros. We have the answer 2 and 3. Okay, so that ends our discussion for today, which is all about functions. Okay, the y is equal to the function of x or the function of x, the composite functions, and the zero functions. Okay,